Yo guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Guys, we're going to have double uploads all week, so get the notifications on, get it all going. We've got Team of the Year on the agenda now. It's a big deal. It's coming up next week. So I'm going to bring a lot of videos to you guys this week, a lot of different types of videos. Just stay put, man. We're going to stay heavy on that YouTube grind this week, though. We're going to upload a lot of videos, so just be ready, boys. Tonight's video is going to be talking about Team of the Year price predictions. This is something that I think a lot of you guys are curious about, and I would try to do my best to help you guys understand maybe what some of these cards will be. So if you enjoyed the video, drop a thumbs up. At this point in the video, let me know what you guys think will be the prices of these players, like probably for the players that you think are locks, because there are going to be some players like that we're not sure about, right? Is Mane or Ronaldo going to make it? A lot of those we don't know, but for the guys that we know are going to make it, which would be like Messi, De Jong, Van Dyke, probably the two Liverpool fullbacks, let me know what you guys think their prices are going to be. Obviously, get together in the comments down below and just kind of let's talk, right? Let's see what's going on. So thank you guys as well for the support. I did upload a market video this morning. If you guys want to check that out, there is a lot of information there that would be helpful to you guys for this week and then the upcoming week and how to navigate all this because it is crazy. But without further ado, I want to give a big shout out to Patrick, who is you guys might know him as Simple Blue, but he is amazing, man. He's been doing basically graphics for my videos for years since I started. He is a Dortmund fan, so we have our differences, but he's a really good dude. This is in for my stream. He actually has, this is basically a percentage of votes from a big website's votes. So like you guys can see all the votes here. There's tons of votes, right? So they basically took a percentage of what people had voted for in the Team of the Year, because obviously you guys know it's a community Team of the Year. So we look here, and basically we've got Robertson, De Ligt, Ter Stegen, Van Dyke, Arnold, De Bruyne, De Jong, Kante, Mane, Mbappe, Messi. Give or take, guys, there's a few players in here that probably will like be borderline. I would say like it's going to be in the net, probably Alisson or Ter Stegen. I would say in the midfield, it's probably going to be Kante or Wijnaldum for that final spot, or at a KDB, one of those guys. Then for the defenders, it's going to be like probably De Ligt or Ramos. It's going to be between one of those two. So like give or take, there's some players that we'll probably be doing like 15 to 20 price predictions today because we don't know exactly who's going to be in. Obviously, I don't know the Team of the Year. We won't know until next week. And then these are like these are the players who missed out, and then here's the percentages of the votes. Now, this is just a small heuristic, right? Because this is a website, but you guys can see. I mean, Mane had 53%, Ronaldo had 20% according to this website. So you never know who the viewer base of the website is. But this would be like 4,000 people voted, a small sample size of what the Team of the Year could be. So let's start off in the goalkeeper position. Let's talk about Ter Stegen or Alisson, right? Let's talk about both of those guys. So the way we do this, guys, is we got to go back. And we got to look at last year's Team of the Year. De Gea would be the first player that was in last year. Now, De Gea was last year, before people found out about Van der Sar, De Gea was the best keeper in the game. And then arguably, he was top 3 all year. In my opinion, he was top 3. I had him in my team as gold card. His Team of the Year was about 700 to 800K for most of the first week. And he had links last year were okay. There was nobody really on Man United that was crazy, so the links were not crazy. De Gea's gold card, though, around Team of the Year time was 150K. So that's something to keep in mind. And I always talk about this. Last year was the year of inflation. We even had an informed De Gea around Team of the Year time was like 400K before he got a Team of the Year. We don't have that this year. If you guys go onto the market and you guys look at like Alisson or Ter Stegen, I mean, these guys are cheap, man. Like, you could get a Team of the Year nominee Alisson for like under 100K, and same with Ter Stegen, right? Ter Stegen's got 2 specials at that price. I would say that I would say this. If Ter Stegen wins, I would expect him to be, I would say a little, I mean, he's more OP, but I would say maybe a little bit cheaper than Alisson. Because Alisson gives the Van Dyke link. That's what I'm thinking. Because everybody's going to use Van Dyke Team of the Year. So everybody's going to use Alisson. Ter Stegen is like, who are you going to link him with, right? It's Screen PK, Longley. He gets a weak link to Ramos, a weak link to Varane. So I would say the keepers this year, in my opinion, because I think as a whole, Team of the Year is going to be cheaper this year because of the lack of coins in this Team of the Year. in the game. There's just not as many coins. Last year was the year of inflation. I've been saying this. I would say that the keepers would probably, I wouldn't expect the team of the year keeper to be less than 600K, but I would probably bracket the team of the year keepers probably like 550 to 700, maybe in there. I would say that's what I would say. I think 550 to 700 would be where I'm expecting either keeper to be at this year in price. Again, guys, these are just like my predictions. These are not going to necessarily happen. And when Messi, just to give you guys an example, when I thought Messi's player of the month would be like 1.8 mil, it turned out to be like 2.1, 2.0. So I was a little bit off there. And he did turn out at one point to be 1.8, but for the most part, he wasn't that price. Let's get into it, right? Now we've got De Ligt, and a good way to look at De Ligt would be going and taking a look at obviously pulling up team of the year last year. And last year we have two center backs that are way more meta than De Ligt, right? We've got team of the year Varane and team of the year Ramos. These were two of the most end game players in the game all year. People use these cards the whole entire year. People use these cards. Now Ramos was about 2 million most of the week in packs, and Varane was about 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. Right? Both fantastic cards with fantastic links. They actually link to each other, which is just it made them really expensive. In my opinion, De Ligt should not be over 1 million coins. I would be shocked if he was. If Varane got one, if Ramos got one, because Ramos is close in the voting to De Ligt, I think De Ligt will probably still edge it. If Ramos got one for this year's game, I would expect Ramos to be about like 1.5, give or take a little bit less. Ramos's gold card last year was much better than this year's card. It was. He had more defending, more pace, 2 overall ratings. It was a little bit better, so he already had the boost. He already had specials. I think he already had one special as well with the UCL heading into it, so I would assume that Ramos was more meta. His links were better last year, although he does link with Mendy. I would expect Ramos to be about 1.5. I mean, it's really hard to pinpoint exactly where Bonucci would be, where De Ligt would be, but I think you could look at Bonucci from, I think it was FIFA 18 when Bonucci got one. He wasn't very expensive. He was not very expensive at all. We got to pull up team of the year here to kind of see what's going on, but he was not that expensive. You look at Bonucci, I think he was like 600 to 700K for most of the week. He was 670. And it would be a similar card. I mean, if you look at his card, 80 pace, 97 defending, 96 physical. He's got 68 pace on his gold card. That's about where De Ligt is right now. He's got about 67 pace on his gold card. So I would not expect De Ligt to be over 1 mil. I would say for De Ligt, you know, the Juve links aren't as good this year. I would say probably somewhere around that same price. I'm thinking probably 700 to 800K. If it's Ramos, you're probably looking at double that price. Virgil Van Dyke. This is probably one of the most in-demand cards this year in terms of what people want and people are looking at. There's no way in hell, in my opinion, that this card will be less than 2 mil. And looking at the market right now, we've got Prime Maldini. Now, this is a little bit different because these cards were released a little bit differently, but this card has been about 5 mil on the market. It's really tough to say exactly where Van Dyke will be in price. I've never personally seen a center back at 3 million coins. I'm not thinking he's going to be less than like 2.4, 2.3 mil though. I can't imagine a world where he's less than like that price. I would, if Van Dyke is less than 2.3 or 2 mil coins, this is going to be the brokest, cheapest market ever. Van Dyke should be the best center back of all time in any FIFA. He should single-handedly crash every single prime icon center back like Maldini, all these guys, because everybody's going to get this card. I would say that you're probably not looking at him being more than like 3.5 or 4 mil. I can't really see this card being that high. I've never seen a center back be that many coins, and especially because the market's a little bit cheaper this year. I would expect mid-twos. Mid-twos to high-twos is what I'm thinking. Could be cheaper, could be more expensive. That's what I would say. I would say it's going to be there. It's going to be one of the most in-demand cards in the game. It's just you kind of get to this point where people sometimes look at defenders and they're like, okay, am I really going to pay this many coins for a defender? A lot of the times people will reevaluate that because they don't want to pay 3 million coins for a damn center back. But Rio's been selling at 2 mil the prime. You know, there has been signs to show that people would be willing to pay the price for those cards. Now we talk about, guys, now we look at, obviously we are going to now take a look at the fullbacks. Now, last year we only had one fullback. Marcelo was the fullback, and God, he was really good because he had really good jumping at 84, and he had fantastic skills. He had a great overlap ability. He was a really damn good card. He was about 1 million coins. Fantastic links because he obviously linked to the team of the year center backs, so he offered some insane links. With Robertson this year, I don't know if Robertson's going to be all that expensive. We've already got Ferland Mendy, who's a card that people will probably still choose over Robertson no matter how good Robertson is. Robertson's in form right now in the market is about 140K. Marcelo had a UCL that heading into this promo, heading into Team of the Year was 350K. So you look at that as kind of like a little bit of an example. I can't really imagine Robertson being over a mil. I also can't really imagine him being over 800 or 900K. I would say Robertson's probably somewhere in that 600 to 800K range. I think he'll be affordable. I don't think he'll be that much. I don't think people are going to go crazy to buy this Robertson. I think a lot of people like that left back Zambrata. A lot of people like Carlos this year. I think that people are not going to go crazy to go get that card. Can't really see him being over a mil. Trent Arnold might be a little bit of a different story. I think Trent would be the more meta out of the two. I don't think he'll be great, but I do know that the right back is still a position that people are looking at. Trent has an inform right now that is about 150K on the market. I could see Trent being more than Robertson, a little bit more than Robertson. And he'll definitely be the link that I think people will go with instead of Robertson for Van Dyke. I think that they'll go with Trent instead of him. But it depends how big the boosts are, right? You know, if Trent gets like a 92, it'll be not that expensive. If he gets a 94, you'll be looking at close to $1 million, I think. I still don't know if he's going to be over $1 million. But I would say he'll be on the higher edge of that 600 to 800K. Probably like 800, 850, something like that. It really is hard, guys, for Team of the Years to be less than $1 million because they're so desirable and so in demand. But I would say that you'd be looking under $1 million, but probably edging close to $1 million. I just don't really know if people are going to pay over $1 million for Trent Arnold. I kind of don't really see that. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what's up. So that's what I would say for the defense. Now we talk into the midfield. Obviously, if we missed out on anyone in defense, let me know, but I think we covered the most that would probably be in there. The midfield you probably got between Kanté, De Jong, De Bruyne, Wijnaldum, and Fabinho is what I'm thinking for that midfield mix. Kante's not going to be cheap. Kanté was expensive last year. Kanté fits this year's game amazing, and I think every pro in the world would have this card in their team. Kanté was like 2.4 to 2.6 last year. He had huge boosts as well, though, which is something to consider. His gold card last year around January time, if it loads, his gold card last year, guys, was like 350K. So it is 100K cheaper this year for a gold Kanté. And then if you look at his inform around this time last year, it was about 850K. So Kanté was a lot more expensive last year, and you guys can see the inflation that was happening last year. It was pretty damn crazy. Kanté's Team of the Year nominee, which is basically, I guess, the road to the final, which is the inform, is about 800K. So people do pay the big price for the upgrade. The road to the final is only 350. You know, this is a really tough one to actually pinpoint the price on Kanté. But yeah, I think if he gets one this year, you'd be looking at probably a range of like 1.8 to 2.4, somewhere in there. I still don't, even with this cheaper market this year, I'm still not really envisioning a world where Kanté is actually like that affordable. Because he's going to fit this game's meta so well this year, I'd say you'd be looking around that 2 mil price point. Most of the midfielders should chill around that price. Next up, you've got Frankie the Young. Now, De Jong is totally going to be in Team of the Year. There's no way that he's not going to be in. I'll tell you guys that right now. He's a lock. Frankie De Jong has an 85 card, which last year, you know, it's tough to know exactly where he would go. He'll probably get a 94 or 95 Team of the Year. His inform's 120K. I personally don't think De Jong will be crazy expensive. I think Kanté would be more money than him. I'm saying for De Jong, I'm going to go with like 1.5 mil. That's pending that he has a rating of like 94, 95. If he has more than that rating, I'll probably put him over 2 mil, like if he has 97 or 98, because it all depends what they do. Obviously, you guys remember last year, Luka Modric got the 99, and he sold in the first week for the first few days for 3 million coins. So he was really expensive. However, he was also a 99 rated, and he was only 3 mil. So in the year of inflation. So I think this is a fair price point for De Jong. Modric had all the links last year as well. He had all the Real Madrid links going for him. So I think with De Jong, you'd probably say 1.5 to 1.8 mil, somewhere in that range. Kanté still being a little bit more expensive. And then we've got Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne should be really damn expensive as well. You could expect Kevin De Bruyne to be similar to N'Golo Kanté's price, maybe a little bit cheaper, maybe with De Jong. I would probably say for De Bruyne, I would expect like 1.7, 1.8. I think he is really good in this year's game. I think 1.6, 1.7, 1.8 works. Obviously, this market is a lot cheaper this year, guys. You know that. So I've been trying to explain that. And his gold's only 160. His inform is 700K. To be fair, it's just like, how much better is the Team of the Year going to be than this? Probably only 3 ratings, right? So it'll be like a 97, maybe 96, 98. You could probably see this card being probably 2.5 to 3 times the price of this card. So I would say personally probably in that 1.8 range. Again, this market's kind of broke this year. So I'm not expecting these midfielders to be all that much. Because we're not going to have anything crazy for the midfields. I don't think guys, this is all depending on like what EA does for ratings, right? Obviously, if they come out and make 3 midfielders 99 rated, then these price predictions are going to be out the bin, right? It's going to be terrible because these cards will all be more expensive if they're all 99 rated. But based on the prices that we're seeing right now, we already have 96 Messi on the market at like 1.8 million and Ultra Flash Mbappe at like 1.8 already. So I can't really see these midfielders being that much more than these top tier players are already so cheap on the market. It's kind of tough to explain, but that's what I would probably try to say to you guys if I were to give you price predictions. And we have 2 more, which is tough to know exactly what to be. Fabinho shouldn't really be that much more than a mil, maybe 1.1, probably similar to Baby Vieira's price. And then Wijnaldum would probably be the same. Although, Wijnaldum would be one of the best cards in the game if he did get a Team of the Year. So I would say if Wijnaldum got in, he might be actually like closer to that mid 1.5 price. You know, considering the links, he's going to get a perfect link to Van Dyke. He might be a super in-demand card. What I've learned about Wijnaldum, though, is that regardless of how good his card is, for some reason, his special cards are always cheap on foot. If you go on right now and look at Wijnaldum's inform, it's 85K. This is a fantastic card, but it's 85K. So that's what I've learned with him, man. His nominee's cheap. He probably won't actually be like 1.5. It'll probably be, if him and Fabinho will probably both be somewhere between 800 and 1.2, somewhere in that range. Again, it could be a cheaper Team of the Year. I think it's going to be the cheapest Team of the Year ever. I could be wrong. These are just my predictions looking and trading on the market this year. I feel like the market's really broke. That's kind of what I'm feeling this year and sensing. Then we've got a front three of Messi, Ronaldo, and Mbappe from last year. These guys were really expensive, just to give you guys some perspective. Messi last year was 5 million coins as a 99. Ronaldo was about 7 to 8 million coins as a 99. He was about 7 mil. And then Mbappe last year as a 97 was, I think, like 4 mil. He's about 4 mil. Yeah, he was about 4 mil. So these cards were also just absurd good. And then Neymar, I think Neymar was 5 mil when he came out. Neymar was 4.1. And he really never hit that price for the remainder, like much of the year. He actually got all the way up to 7 mil at some point. And then he dropped off a damn cliff when they put him in packs. Wow, that's crazy. So, yeah, I mean, we have Mbappe and Messi. These two are for sure going to be in the Team of the Year this year. Because Mbappe has a specific position change this year, I don't think he'll be that cheap. He has a striker card that's been selling at 1.9, you know, and if he gets a 98, I think he'll be 4 mil at least. I know this Team of the Year is going to be cheaper, but just looking at the price last year, if you were to go ahead and go to FIFA 19 and you looked up Mbappe and you looked up like his inform, let's say this inform I think was before Team of the Year. No, that was Team of the Year week 19. All right, let's take a look at the right mid, right? So, I mean, this card was what? It was like 900K for the first inform. And that's basically what we're looking at for the 90 as well. So, Mbappe is a super meta card this year. It's probably one of the top metas this year. Especially with the striker, I would say Mbappe is going to be 4 to 5 mil. 3.8 to 5 mil, somewhere in there again. I wouldn't see him more than 5. I don't think he'll be... The only outcome he could be more than 5 mil is because we don't have Ronaldo this year, that everybody's going crazy for this card. If Ronaldo's in, it will make Mbappe cheaper. If Ronaldo's not in, Mbappe will be more expensive. That's kind of what I'm thinking with him. So give or take, if Ronaldo's in, I think he'll be more towards the 4 mil. If he's not in, you might actually see a higher price for him. Messi is interesting this year. This should be theoretically the best card in the game. I would say Messi would probably be between 5 and 6 mil. It's tough to say. I don't think he'll be as cheap as he was last year, though. The reason for this is that Messi last year was not Messi this year. I used him in my team. He was 5.5 the first week. He was good, but he wasn't like... Last year was the year for a lot of people of Ronaldo. I never got along with Ronaldo, but this was for a lot of people the guy last year, and he was 8 to 9 mil the first week. So I would say you're probably looking for Messi this year at least 6 million coins. This is going to be the guy that everybody has their eyes on right away. Right away, they're going to look at that Messi and say, I need that card. He's going to my team. He's the best player. That's kind of how it's going to work. Pending Neymar doesn't get in, and then you have your arguments with maybe Mbappe and Van Dyke with Messi for who's the best player in foot. Messi's kind of going to be that guy, and everybody's going to... And I don't think a lot of people did the player of the month because a lot of people were waiting for the Team of the Year to get the card. I think that's my kind of like prediction. So Messi should be expensive as hell. I think he'll be, if Ronaldo's not in, the most expensive Team of the Year player. Has to be. I think he's going to, no doubt, be the most expensive Team of the Year player available on the market. Mane makes an interesting case as well, because Mane's very good in this year's game. And I think that this card will be broken as hell. I think it will be really broken. He's got a player of the month out at 91. This was an 800K SBC, and then his top tier cards, including his road to the final, is about $1 mil. Mane should have 99 pace. He should also have like 96 shooting, 97 shooting. He might be one of the most broken cards in the game. Personally, what I would say with Mane, you're probably looking in the mid 2s to low 3s. I don't see this card being less than 2 mil. If he is, he's one of the best values of all time because he'll be really good. He's a Team of the Year attacker. Most of the time with Team of the Year attackers, guys, they're just not cheap no matter what. I think about 3 mil is a fair price point for him. Mbappe with inflation last year was about 4 mil. He should be a little bit cheaper than that because of the lack of skills and just not as hype and like that. But he has amazing links. He's going to be an amazing card. You probably see 3 mil for Mane would make sense to me, about 3 times the price of his highest card, especially because he should get a 98 or 97. That's what EA probably will do. Maybe a 96 if they snub him, but probably a pretty high rated card. And then other than that, we've basically got a few other cards to talk about, which would be Ronaldo and maybe Neymar. If they somehow sneak in Neymar, I'll be impressed. Now, if Neymar gets a card, for me, there's no chance it's less than 4 mil. It'll probably be about 5 mil. And then if Ronaldo gets a card, it's tough to say with Ronaldo, but I would probably say with Cristiano, about to say, man, I'd probably say 5 to 6 mil. Ronaldo's not as good as last year, and he was 9 mil last year. He's not as good. You don't see him as in many teams. His gold card is already 800K. Him and Messi should be pretty similar in price. I would say Messi might still be a little bit more. We'll have to see. But that's what I would say when it comes to those guys. I mean, when you look on the market at the moment, guys, you can't go crazy with price tags because right now, guys, around Team of the Year time, gold Ronaldo right now, guys, is 850K. Like, I don't know if any of you guys have waked up and smelled the coffee, but this card is 850K. Messi's card is 890. I mean, last year Ronaldo was 2.3 mil at this time, so there's no way he's going to be as expensive. And his striker card is 1.4 right now. Last year I think it was like 2 mil when he had it in for him. So I would say with Ronaldo, you're probably looking at somewhere like that 4 to 5 range, but it's not going to be that cheap, right? At the end of the day, it's Ronaldo Team of the Year. He'll probably be like a 98 if they throw him in. So he should be pretty expensive. So we'll see how these go, guys. I guess from this video, hopefully it helps you out a little bit, maybe understand what these guys will be. These should be the ranges. Just remember, guys, no matter what, attackers are always expensive. Attackers are always big bucks. They're never cheap, so that's why I really don't see Mane being that cheap. He'll be the cheapest. Mane will be the cheapest attacker. Mbappe and Messi should have a foot race for number 1. Should be Messi. Conte, De Jong, De Bruyne, I would expect out of those 3, if they got in, Conte would be the most expensive, depending on the ratings, but I would expect Conte to be the most expensive. Van Dijk's going to be the most expensive defender. The other 3 defenders should be pretty affordable, and the keeper should be affordable as well. I don't see them being anything crazy in price. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video today. Try to help you guys out. I'm trying not to have a bias. I'm just trying to be honest about who's going to get in and what to expect and then what we were looking at last year. So thank you guys for watching the video today. I love you guys, man. And I'll see you guys soon. Peace.